behind me.
I shared it.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
As always, Chap's the earliest from a time zone perspective, but also the most energetic already. Love it.
I wake up, one of my teammates says that his dad always used to talk about how some people just shoot out of bed in the morning, and I literally do shoot out of bed, ready to go.
Nice. Yeah, that's crazy to me.
I wish I could do that.
It's like really, I started realizing, I think I told you guys last time too, I prefer to wake up without an alarm. And some days when I have to get up just an hour early, you would think doesn't make a big difference, because naturally I usually wake up around 8 or so, 8:30. And if I get up at 7 or even a little bit earlier, I feel so much more tired. It's crazy. And it's only an hour.
Yeah, I hear you. I feel the same, actually.
And it gets worse after 30th year or something like that. So
Yeah.
Much worse.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, it doesn't get any easier. All right, we have everyone. Good morning, Kyle.
Good morning. How's everyone doing?
Hey.
How are you?
Morning.
Excellent.
Cool.
How are you?
So far, so good. We will see how the day progresses.
Fair enough. All right, so I would say we can jump in here in a second. We talked a little bit about the format of these check-ins because we got some feedback from our watchers, but we'll keep it the same. Like I said, we can only, since we were mid-cohort, I'm not going to change things on you unless you all want that. However, what I would recommend, or I think we more or less did that already, but let's be more, I'll be more cognizant about it. We'll check in with one, right? We'll go over your slides. You say whatever you want to tell us. If you have anything to show it. And then you just give a couple minutes of questions per project for where you guys can ask questions. And I don't know if, like Lou suggested, we could kind of get the audience involved, and unfortunately we don't have all that much live following quite yet. But if there is any questions coming in on the chat, I will plug them in. So for that, Lou, did you have anything to show after, or do you want me to just show the slides? Do you want to share it yourself directly?
No, I don't have anything to physically show this week, but yeah, just pop the slides in and I'll run through my update real quick.
All right.
I liked having that conversation with you guys this week, by the way. I think that that's super fun and engaging to kind of, like Sven is doing. He's building in public, CoStarting, as well as we're building all of our projects. So I thought that was a really fun discussion, bringing in the audience, bringing in us, and bringing in Sven. I thought that was a really cool growth about this program in general.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. And you're absolutely right. That is exactly what I'm doing, right? I'm experimenting as rapidly as I can with this stuff. And it needs to, of course, work primarily for you guys, for your targets, whatever you are trying to achieve, right? But any of this, and I think I said it multiple times before, but any of these cohort requirements, I didn't come up with them because I thought they would be fun for me. Hopefully that's kind of clear. Like the daily tweets, right? That's building a habit for you guys. If you do it, some of you probably know that, like building a habit, commonly we say it takes 30 days. If you do something for 30 days, then you got into the habit. So, like sharing on a daily basis, building public is that, of course, having that habit to do so. And just even if you don't have to do it daily, but like sharing these little wins or challenges, just being genuine and transparent, I think goes a long way. And the same thing with these weekly updates. They're not necessarily meant to just have a reiteration of the daily updates, but rather a reflection of the week, right? Like for you guys to kind of think about, okay, what did we accomplish? Why was that? Do we have to plan anything differently, right? It's really more of a tool to kind of get you thinking. rather than a chore. And I know if you get busy, sometimes these things feel like a chore, which is why they're requirements. So you can't get around them.
We
All right,
we
with that
actually.
being said,
I was just
Yeah,
going to
go
say
ahead.
real quick, sorry, we had a really interesting conversation in my team about that term of stuff being a chore and these productive tools and these productive habits being a chore or not and how to reframe it. So I think that that's a really interesting point. And I just wanted to let everybody, really let that resonate because I think it's important is what's a chore, what's not, and how do you build in public and build transparently and collaboratively without it feeling like a chore.
Right. Yeah. And it's not always easy, right? And we need to be kind of aware of that too. And that's the perfect segue, as always, with Not a Community, because that's a support group for these kinds of things, right?
Exactly.
Take it away, Lou.
All right. Yeah, you can pop on the next slide. So just kind of recapping my week. So this past week ended up being a little rough for me. I just had a lot of things come in that were not planned. So I ended up having to take 30 days on working on Not a Community. So my original plan was to do minimum 1 hour per day. So that would be at least 7 hours a week. I ended up working about 5.75 or five almost 6 hours on it. So in there, so some things kind of got pushed back a little bit. But the big thing that I got accomplished was I selected a platform for the community. And one of the challenges there is that a lot of these platforms are designed for members to not be anonymous. So, trying to find a platform that could achieve that was a little challenging. So I ended up finding one. It was Discourse. And then I went with the self-install option, which I installed it on a droplet in DigitalOcean. The install process was good. There was a little bit of a problem I ran into. It was just like a really, really dumb problem that my essentially email provider blocked without blocking, because I talked to them. They cleared it. They said, hey, you know what, this should work. And then it didn't work. So anyways, the long story short is the platform selected, it's installed. Now I'm configuring. So the plan was last week was to roll out the landing page, get my tech tools all set up, and do some member discovery calls. So the tech tools, the first part of it is set up. The community platform, I still have the payment portion to get set up. The landing page I did roll out. I asked for some feedback on it. Sven, thank you for the feedback. If anyone else has time this week, I'd love to get your feedback on it. And then I had 2 member discovery calls planned. One canceled, and then one got rescheduled. So I didn't do those. My rescheduled is for this week. So overall, very minimal amount of time spent, but I think I did get some things accomplished. This upcoming week, my goal now is to finish the configuration. It ended up being a lot more work than I anticipated, because you're going through each setting, you're doing the emails, messages that get sent out. There was a lot of stuff in there that I didn't anticipate, but I'm gonna get that finished this upcoming week. Get the payment system integrated, and then I have a couple of early users that I'm kind of releasing to just to start getting feedback on it. And then the goal is get all that part ready, so next week we start kind of rolling it out and to the public, getting some members signed up for it. So that's it for my update there. Are there any questions, anything I can go over for you guys?
I just wanted to clarify, Lou, you keep saying Discourse. Are you talking about Discord, or is there a different program called Discourse?
Yeah, so there is a community platform. It's an open source platform called Discourse, not the messaging platform.
Thank you for that clarification. You've said that a couple times, and I was like, am I confused? What's going on? So no, I think that's super cool. And it's tough to have those 0 days, but it sounds like you were able to make some of it back. So that's kind of nice. So you got a little more than an hour a day to make up for some of that lost time. It sounds like you're doing a lot in the little bit of time you have.
Thanks, man. Thanks for
So the Discourse is like like a forum on steroids of the old days, like something.
Yeah,
Something
pretty
like that?
much. Yep, it's a forum. It's been around for a long time. There are a bunch of, I mean, I literally went through at least a dozen different platforms, at least. So if you guys are looking for community platforms, let me know. I can give you the ins and outs on a lot of them. Hey Sven, will you
Yeah,
pop over to the? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I'm just super curious to see how that goes with this course, because like naturally for co-starting, I'm looking into similar things, right? And I as you guys, I think, realize that by now, I'm a big fan of open source, and I'm also a big fan of free stuff. They usually come hand in hand, at least. But it's tough because if you and Lou, you probably, or let me know if you feel similarly, right? Like I have this problem. I'm trying to do this on the cheap, but also with the kind of hope that with open source, you have more configurability, more extensibility in the future. But then you run into the problem that you sink in a week on this more complex tool instead of just buying a SaaS solution for like $15 a month, right?
Yep. I mean, you're totally right. I mean, it's time versus money, right? Is it something fully hosted and managed, or is it going to be something that, you're going to go and tinker and kick around? I did waste a lot of time on a very simple problem, but it was just like not overly logical because everybody said it's supposed to work, but it didn't. But
So what was it in
changed
the end?
So my email provider, so I needed an SMTP set up so I can send out admin emails. My email provider said that everything was set up and they do allow the outbound emails. But in reality, it didn't happen. So I ended up going with a transactional email provider. So I used that instead of the provider I already had. But that ended up fixing it. But it also threw some other weird errors. So when I did the install and it tried to send out the email, it threw a really weird error, an error that says go contact discourse because this is an uncommon error. So, it was just like, really silly rabbit hole crap that should have been really simple.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where the time goes usually in these problems.
Yeah. But you're totally right. I mean, I could have just, gone with the managed discourse install and probably saved myself this week. But you live and you learn, right? Because you start digging into it, and then now you got some cost into it. It's like, I can figure this out. Then your ego gets in the way. It's like, I can figure this out, and then
yeah.
So,
but the good thing is, at the end of the day, now you know how to do it, right? Like, and you learn. Like, I mean, I don't know. That's how I justify it to myself. I don't know if it really outweighs it. Like, it depends on how much time you have and you're willing to spend, but it's still fun. If it's not fun, then don't do it. Just pay for it. But if it's still fun to figure it out, and then you set up another server, a little bit more of DigitalOcean, a little bit more of the email providers you can use and all of that stuff, right? And that's usually worth it for me, kind of.
No, you're totally right. Definitely learning. And it was just fun trying to solve a problem. It was an interesting problem. But let me just run over the KPIs real quick, and then there's nothing really new here. I got the analytics working correctly now, so I have 8 uniques coming in last week. No change in pre-launch signups, and then no onboarded members or paid members. So that's not a lot of needle is being moved, and mainly because it's all in the we're just in that setup and getting stuff ready phase. So that's it for me, y'all. What's up?
How do you feel about your paid member launch criteria so far? I know you're kind of ambitious there, but you've also not really launched yet. So I guess it's hard to say right now, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, so a couple of different things. The first, which I didn't mention, is that I gave myself a hard launch date. If you go to the landing page, you'll see it's going to be launched on noon next week on the 8th. And just another commitment to get something out there and going. Just another, just more commitment there for accountability. Secondly, pricing. So I priced it right now at $120 a year. So it's going to be $10 a month, essentially paid up front, 90% off for if you sign up now. So that's going to be like the equivalence of $12. And I'm not doing a free trial. I'm actually, the test here is to say, you know, if you sign up and you pay $12 and I'm going to give you a 30-day or 60-day, money back guarantee, what does that look like for signups? So those decisions were made this week. Again, like Sven was saying, we will know more by, after next week, I think, if how people are going to, how that sign up process and pricing model is going to work out.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. I also liked on your website you have not a communities for everyone. If you can't afford it, reach out and we'll figure something out, right? I think that's very, very cool. It's a little dangerous, kind of feels a little dangerous, right, at first. But you also hope that, the majority of the community get there because they actually see the value, right? And they need something like that. And if there is value, they'll pay for it. That I'm super interested in learning how that goes over time.
Yeah. So my kind of thought behind that one was, one, we are kind of making a PSA type product, right? It's not PSA, but it's something to help everybody. So we didn't want to exclude people because they couldn't pay for it. And then kind of the other kind of test is, you've seen those products where pay what you think it's worth type, pricing model. So that's one thing I kind of wanted to see, like you said, it could be dangerous, but the cost to run this is fairly low. And this isn't really, to me, not a real business. I mean, it's kind of a hobby because it was something that I really wanted to put out there. So the risk for that is really low, and you're kind of hoping that, like you said, people who can pay it will pay for it, and those who can't, they'll just be honest about it. And there will be some people trying to skate around, but if they need to skate around and not pay $12 for the year, then that's fine, dude. I'll hook you up.
Yeah, no, that's great. I think that's an interesting approach. I love those pay what you think it's worth type of things too. It usually works out, right? It usually works out.
Yeah.
Awesome. Anyone else? Any questions before we move on?
Celebrate those little wins, everybody. That's what I'm learning to be more important, right? Just celebrate the little things, because that's how you keep going.
Yeah.
That is so true.
Just go to the store now after this call, buy 6 bottles of champagne and just pop one every little win. You'll feel so much better during your week.
Of course you will. You're gonna be drunk.
Probably not as productive though. Yeah.
No, just kidding. Of course, don't do that. All right, Kyle, do you want me to go through the slides? Do you have something to show?
Nope, no visuals. So quick slides are fine. And we could just jump right in. All right, so I don't know if I actually ever mentioned it to you guys. I do occasionally mention things on social media here and there, but it's usually in small Facebook groups. But I actually have really, really bad ADHD. It's very hard for me to focus long term on basically anything. So knowing that, the main focus of doing the CoStarting for me, yes, it's been under this umbrella of underdog sites and the product that I'm working on, but it's also to kind of learn how to do something small long term and actually be able to sit down and refocus and hit those tiny goals, because I want to hit all the big goals right away, and that never happens, of course, and then I get frustrated and then I quit. So the big achievement that I've been experiencing is that I'm with the daily tweets and the weekly blog posts, I'm really starting to kind of see the value in that and appreciate what little I'm getting done. And I'm actually starting to see where I wouldn't normally see, oh, I'm actually making progress. I'm I'm able to see that a little bit more easily now. So that's really exciting. And like kind of like a huge, like, I don't know, brain breakthrough for me. So not really a project breakthrough, but a brain breakthrough. So that's kind of cool. So the big goals for this last week were to work on the user dashboard, get some wireframing done, and get some kind of structure figured out for beta pricing. I ended up doing a ton of digging into potential dashboard, like pre-made setups and things like that. And they all had like things that I loved, and there was a bunch of stuff that I didn't like. And I ended up just deciding to go with something super simple that it actually doesn't look anything at all like what I would want to start. But it's as far as like design goes, I decided I'm just going to worry about the design stuff later, and I can make it pretty later. I want it to have the foundation in place where I can have the dashboard be very simple for my users. They can go in, they can make their pages, or they can do, if they're setting up like a product or something, like it's very, very easy for them to find it, very easy for them to do, and then we'll make it pretty later. So, because the whole point of Underdog sites is to make that stuff easy for people, and I don't want the design to get in the way. So kind of forcing myself onto that, that's been helpful. For beta pricing, I've been really in debates about how I want to structure it. I've been thinking a lot less about what I want to do for the actual pricing, but I've really been trying to figure out how I want to do a beta thing for this. And I think, and I'd love to hear you guys' feedback on this. I think what I might do is either offer like a limited number of lifetime like subscriptions, so you pay once and you'll have access to it for as long as Underdog Sites is around. Either do a limited number of that, or do like have that open for a limited amount of time before the actual like beta login, try things out is on for people. And then once that's turned on, then do like a heavily discounted subscription model until we go live. And then that would be, after that, it would be like normal pricing, whatever that ends up looking like. Kind of wanted to get you guys' thoughts on that. Again, like I just really figuring out the pricing is just, I don't know how to do that. It's not like it's a like a community-based platform or something like that where people might subscribe for a little bit and then they'll fall away or whatever. It's going to be more like, they subscribe and they're running their business off of it. So it has the potential to be a little bit more complicated than like a forum as far as figuring out like your costs and things on my end and on their end and all that jazz. So I'd love to hear your thoughts about that. My plans for next week is to just get a couple of the dashboard pages built, so I actually have something visual to share. But that's pretty much it as far as this particular slide goes. Did you guys want to talk about the beta stuff? I mean, I'm not really worried about the KPIs in the next slide at all, so we can totally skip it. Those are more just there to track for fun. I'm not expecting any of those to change at all throughout this whole month. So we can just focus on this slide with that.
Yeah, if you have something to share, I think share it. But for pricing, did you consider value-based pricing, or usage-based pricing? Because like from how you just said, right, it's more of a platform where people grow with it as their business grows, and I think you want to be also protected for that. Because it's, if it's $10 a month, it's $10 a month, but maybe it can be free, like the Firebase model, right? Google Firebase or Google in general. Like as you grow, maybe it's free for the beginning when you just have a landing page there, but then as you get more visitors or as you use more features or more pages, like there's 1,000 ways to do it, of course, but that's an interesting pricing model too, I think.
Yeah. Actually, I was thinking about rolling that out once we go live. The reason I was thinking about, not using like a usage base or something like that for the beta testers or the pre-beta signups or anything like that is simply because I haven't figured out what features are going to go with what. I have and I figured it would just be easier to figure out pricing for that type of stuff after I have a better idea of how people are going to be using the platform. But I kind of see the merit in doing it beforehand too. So that's something I hadn't considered.
I would say.
May I give my input as well a little bit, maybe?
No.
Because from what I was thinking, I mean, well, with the pricing in general, it's a little bit, at least for me, maybe some people might see it differently, but at least for me, in a stage that early in a project, is always like hard to evaluate anyways. Like you just have to think for yourself, what is your actual cost of like running it? If you cannot afford it, then maybe you need to think about the pricing at first. But I think that's something that can come in later. And I would at least focus on getting user on the platform first, checking out if they use it or not. And then you can, yeah, like you said, evaluate how they use it and maybe get a pricing model out of that. I think that might be a better approach, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I totally agree with Teemo. You know, I think thinking about pricing at this point is a little early. You know, like, yeah, you want to have an idea of what you can end up, you know, charging for it. But I think right now, like the mental powers, those mental cycles would probably be better used on, you know, acquiring users and getting product done. Because from your users, you know, once they come on board, you can start really having them help you with pricing. You know, was it worth to them? You know, what would they be willing to pay? Because then they're starting to start getting value out of it. The other thing too is with the lifetime deals. I'm assuming it's a one-time payment and you get the platform for the rest. I would say those would be like, I would be very careful with those, especially if you have a platform or a product that there's costs associated with running it, or should I say with each user using it. So I think what could be almost as powerful as a lifetime deal would be like, you know, locking someone in at a specific price point for life. So I would say that would probably be more preferable as someone running the business, because you also want people, if they're not using it, to naturally fall off. So you're not paying just to keep, you know, data that's sitting there for the last 10 years unused, because they have a lifetime plan. So
I think that's a good suggestion. And Lou, I really like the idea of building price with customers. I'll tell you what, Kyle, I mean, I've been running Rerouted for 2 years, and we've probably run through like 8 different pricing models, because we're always talking to people. We're always asking questions, trying to figure out what is the most effective way to do this. I mean, we started off by warehousing and selling things at an uptick, and now we're not warehousing anything. We're going straight through listings and taking a commission off of each transaction. So like, it's always changing. It's always evolving. Pricing is such an art form. And I kind of want to agree with Lou on the fact, like, you don't want to be saving people's data that aren't using the system. That gets real expensive real fast. So you want to be really smart about how that user is paying. And I love the suggestion of an enterprise model. You should go peek at Shopify's pricing page also, Kyle, because I think that they're doing like a similar-ish type of thing. And I think that their enterprising price model that scales with the business is really meaningful to what you're building.
Perfect. Actually, and that's a good point. I can actually set up. So I'm using, for like version 1 of Underdog sites, I'm using WordPress multi-site to kind of put it all together. Assuming things go well, and I plan for things to go well, eventually I will move off of WordPress multi-site onto a custom platform.
Sure.
But with knowing that, if I did do the lifetime type stuff, I wouldn't be able to set up, there's the option for me to remove people's websites and their data if it's been sitting dormant for, like, let's say 6 months, a year, whatever I set it at. And if I do a lifetime model, I can't do that. So that's a really good point, and I didn't think about that until you guys brought that up. So that's thank you for bringing that up. I totally forgot about that feature. All right, yeah, I will check those out. I really do like the idea of building like some kind of community feedback with the pricing. I think that's a cool idea. So I'll have to kind of explore that a little bit more as well. And maybe what I'll do is maybe, I don't know, open it up for people to try out for free for a limited amount of time. You know, when it's on the limited features anyway, and kind of go from there, or maybe just keep that like invite only or something like that, so it doesn't get like crazy out of control.
Hey man, I think
Yeah.
invite only is the way to drive it crazy out of control. You watching what's happening in the sphere right now, you make something exclusive and everybody wants a piece.
I know. What is it with us? I don't really. Okay, so I have a Mac, but I don't really do the whole like iOS stuff. What is this Clubhouse thing I keep hearing about?
It's like a live podcast, right? Like it's really the
Okay.
best way to describe it. And so somebody hosts it and says, this is what we're talking about. They usually bring in, somebody to do it with, and then people can like raise their hand and ask questions and engage with them live. I don't know. I haven't used it yet, but I've heard things about it.
Sounds like it's probably good. I don't have
audio
iOS.
first.
'Cause
It's
I
an
will be
audio
doing
first chat, right? But the problem with exclusivity works if you have something to hype it, right?
Mhm.
Like they are exclusive, but everyone hypes it, and I don't know, don't quote me on this, but they probably raised a couple $1 million and built it, and had already like what we were talking about, this beta and alpha phase. They went through that without anyone knowing about it too, right? So that's kind of a different stage. However, to your point of like limiting it, that it doesn't get out of control, don't worry about that. We all do that. That's a great problem to have. And you will notice. Just put yourself an email reminder every time someone signs up. And if all of a sudden one morning you have 1,000 of those emails, really good problem. Go switch the free one off, talk to the people and start charging, right? In my experience, it probably doesn't happen all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Did you
All
want to
right.
show something, or should we move on?
Hey, I'm good. We can skip over this. Like I said, it's more so just for fun, so we can move on to the next person. Thanks, guys.
Sasha, Liveman Switch. You're muted.
Sorry, forgot to unmute. So for me also, life got somewhat in the way during this week because I have a herniated disc and the pain sometimes flares up, and that happened during this week. So I spent part of the week in bed and in pain, but mostly I got what I wanted done. I plan to finish basically all the functionality, all the core stuff. And that's what I done. So users can build switches. So basically to configure everything that needs to be configured. Switch is sending checkup email and SMS properly. In the actual checkup message, they just get a short message like, this is a checkup message for such and such switch, and there is a link to click on that link. When they click it, the app knows that they are still available and resets the trigger timer. And after, if trigger timer triggers, then messages are sent properly, and that works. All the verifications work. Login and sign up process work with various social providers and by email. And apart from that, I also done some work on the design, added legal documents, terms and conditions and private policy. I generated that through some platform. IUBand, I think it's called, something like that. And for this week, I was waiting for the articles that I paid for through Fiverr, but that was a real flop because like the author talked like about some random technology, nothing like particular about my product, and I wrote like 1,000-something words of explanations what the product to do and what I would like for her copy to contain, and the gig was for like 1,500 words, and I almost wrote like the same amount of words that she wrote, but she wrote like nothing, like it was not usable. So for the next week, I will actually do it myself, and I need to get Stripe account verified for the payments and do more testing and upload the service to the live URL and hopefully get the first signups, and we'll see from there. So that's all for my update. I don't have any KPIs set.
So I have a question, Sasha. And this is probably a bit premature, but I just wanted to spark that thought for you. For this type of service, longevity is key, right? Like the ease of mind that you will be always there is extremely important. Like if I cannot ever feel like this company is going to go out of business, because then, you know, my crypto, which I'm trying to save with your thing, is also not, it's not going to work, right? So, and I might not ever know because I'm already dead. So have you thought about like how you could approach that? And again, this is kind of more of a long-term question, right? But for example, this service could, of course, live on the blockchain, distributed without you being the central authority, and that could be solving that problem. But there's other approaches, right? Is that kind of something you think about already, or no?
Yeah, that is a really good concern, and that's one of my concerns. But the service is just starting, and I don't know. I tuck that problem away for now because I'm not sure how to approach it. Because the service is just become live like in a week, and I'm not sure how I can instill the sense of security in my users from day one regarding that concern.
Right.
But I have to think more about it. Yeah, that's a good concern.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that of course. So definitely I would recommend not to worry about that right now. Right now, launching is the first criteria, right? But I'm curious to see, and let us know as you go live and get first customer feedbacks if that is a concern for people. Maybe not, right? Because that's also sometimes we overthink it and we put solutions in place for something which is not even a problem. But if it becomes one, that would be interesting to explore how to solve.
Sven asking the tough questions, guys. He's like an investor. He's like an investor over here trying to stump us. I had an investor that's deliberate intention was to try to trip me up, and that's what Sven's trying to do. Make sure we're getting tripped up here versus there.
Yeah, guys.
But you're also
go ahead.
You're also right that we overthink things all the time, and that's what I try to have in my mind all the time while I'm working, because I'm working on some feature and then I thought up on some other way that users can maybe use it, or maybe I should add this or that, and no, just launch it first with the basic set of features that are like enough for the service to be usable in a okay way, and then like, okay, you can write those features and maybe implement them later. Just don't prolong the launching. That is like my mantra now.
Completely agree. Love that. I don't know if I told you guys this before, but there's in one audiobook I listened to years ago, I think it was about a company in the early days of the internet. It's like an online like game, I think, or something. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So they launched early, right? They talked to their customers a lot, and for every customer feedback they got, they saved it to the features, to the roadmap, right? So they linked their customers, the individual customers, to the feature roadmap, and as they built them, they wrote them a personalized message. Hey, Paul, thank you so much for your feedback. We built this because of your feedback, making Paul feel like $1 million, right? And maybe Paul was the only one who gave that feedback. Maybe there was 100 people who gave that feedback. But especially if the feature is already in the roadmap or you have thought about it before, that's the way how you build the evangelists for your company. Because Paul will tell everyone about that, right? So I have never built a process to do that myself, but that is like that's all has always been the gold standard and how I think about it with customer service. If you can track and associate the people you're interacting with, and make them feel like they're the center of the universe from the point of view of your company, right? Then I can't picture anything better from a customer.
You know, it reminds me, Sven, of the Airbnb story, because that's how they've done a lot of their building. So those guys were out taking pictures themselves because their customers weren't allowing or like taking good enough photos for their listings. So they're out there taking the photos, and one of their users is like, "Oh, I took all these notes on how this experience could be better." And they looked at this and they're like, "Oh my God, this is our product roadmap. This is exactly what we want to build because the customer designed it for us," right? Like, and what Sven's saying is it is the gold standard. But Sasha, I think that you're on the right track. And I think that those are the type of questions that can be backburnered. And I think you have a lot to celebrate. And you're doing a lot of really cool stuff and building a lot of really cool features into the product.
Yeah, I agree.
Thanks, guys.
Anything else? Or are we moving on to Teemo?
Yeah. Quick notice, I have a demo afterwards, so we can switch after that. It's fine, I think, but for now I'm going off your slides.
Works for me.
So yeah, first of all, big achievement this week. I have my first teammate. Yay. It's a friend of mine, but I'm very happy that he offered without me forcing him to do it. He offered his support on the project and like essentially offering his free time. So that's really cool. And my plan for this week was basically, engaging a little bit more with my target audience, writers in that case. So Chep helped me to make a very nice feedback form. Thank you very much, Chep. Nobody.
I didn't do anything, Teemo. You did that. I just suggested the platform.
But yeah, I know. But you gave me very good suggestions, actually. Unfortunately, nobody has filled out the feedback form yet. But that's also a little bit my fault, I think, because I mean, I tried Reddit at first, putting up my my form there and writing a little story about that, and I tried a couple of subreddits, but yeah, the hard Reddit community struck me immediately because, like, I mean, I'm very new to Reddit, so it was essentially my first post. So in the most subreddits, they deleted it already, like instantly. And then on the and then I wanted to post on one subreddit which has 1.7 million people in it, which I thought is really nice. And they, from their terms of services, they even allowed posts like that. But I need a certain amount of karma, which I don't have yet. So I'm trying to build that up a little bit. And yeah, so it's going slow. I also joined a Facebook group, but I haven't posted anything there yet. I'm just a passive member for now, reading a little bit about like what people post there. And I'm planning to eventually get feedback from there. I posted the form on Twitter, but yeah, no response yet. So, but I'm positive it might get better in future. So I pinned this to my Twitter account. Hopefully when people join me later, they will just give me some feedback. It would be really nice and would be really helpful to improving the product.
Teemo, as for Reddit, I ran into the same. We talked about it before, but I ran into the same issue. I'm not really on Reddit. I consume a little bit, but I don't engage at all. So I wanted to learn about a specific topic in the crypto space, and I have a couple questions, and I want to engage with some people, and I couldn't post there either because I had no karma. So I asked a friend who I know is active on Reddit to just post it for me. So, and that's not against the rules, really, right? Like, it's just you kind of find a loophole there. The downside is you can't really engage with it, but if it's more of a feedback type question, you can still check in. You can engage with your account on the original post, right? And Reddit is kind of anonymous anyway, so that's an easy way to get around that. Unfortunately, I have to tell you, still no one answered my questions either, so don't get your hopes up too high either in that case.
Yeah, no, but I think in general Reddit is a great community to to be in. So I'm trying to get a little bit more active in that as well. And yeah, maybe I'll benefit later from it. I won't get the feedback immediately, but eventually I'll get it, I think. And in terms of the feedback, I found actually a new, let's say competitor who's up for 4 years already in the same space, kind of. I've not known that platform before, but I immediately made an account, of course, and tested everything out. And I must say they're pretty good, to be honest. And what I saw, there was a Medium post from the founder of this platform. Apparently, they have like 330,000 users, which is huge. So there, for me, it was an indicator there is definitely something there where I can maybe join in if I deliver the right product. So yeah, let's hope it goes well. My plan is to kind of investigate them a little bit further, like what they do, how they do things. They're very public. Most of their tools are open source, which is really cool. And I'm also trying to approach some other, let's say, former competitors. They're not in business anymore, but they had a platform similar to what I'm building. And I just want to know more about them. Like, why did they go out of business? And like just about their experiences. I found them on LinkedIn, but I haven't really contacted them yet. But that's still something I plan on doing. And and another cool thing, actually, I have now 2 real writer followers on Twitter. Yay! This is really nice. And the one of my followers actually has 77,000 followers, I think. So if I can maybe engage with her a little bit, that would be nice, and get feedback from her. That would be really cool. And so I'm planning to do that next week. And I also want to improve a little bit on the UI of my product, because that's what I think, or the UX more specifically, because I think that's really a key feature that I can try to I don't want to say sell, but like it could be one of the key features of my product. If it's really easy to use and really easy to visualize, like even complex stories and timelines and stuff, that would be very helpful for people, I think. And but that's just my imagination, since I haven't got any feedback yet. But that's what I'm planning on doing next week. And now for the KPIs. I got 1 more follower. Actually, it was a little bit like let's say a very small roller coaster this week, because I went from 10 followers to 8, and then I went back to 11, kind of. So that's the news there. And newsletter subscribers, I have actually 2 new ones. That's really cool, which are neither Sven nor me, which is even better. And for my blog visitors, I have now 43 views of my blogs and 38 reads. And my last story about my character section, apparently everybody read, which is really nice. Maybe it's just because it's very short. It's like 3-minute read. It shows me on Medium. So, and in Google Analytics, currently I have 35 unique visitors on my website. So it's slowly growing, I think.
Nice. Yeah, it's trending upwards. For your blog, do you think that Medium, the fact that you're writing on Medium, helps with distribution?
I think a little bit. I mean, I'm not quite sure yet, because it's I think the numbers are too small to say anything. And like, I guess a lot of people who read that are also friends of mine. So I cannot really say who actually read it, those people who I don't know. But I think Medium helps in general. It's at least they make it very easy for you to write stories, and they have a big community already. And they give you all those nice features and analytics and stuff, so you can really improve on your, let's say, writing if that's your main goal. And I don't know, I kind of feel like when I write those blog posts, I want to take my readers a little bit on the journey. Maybe I'm maybe I'm doing that a little bit too much, who knows. But I mean, I like writing in that in that way anyway. So it's fun for me. Yesterday, I knew, okay, I had to put up the blog post at a specific time. And yeah, I started from my time actually at 10 in the night, and it took me until like 2 in the morning to finish it, like almost 4 hours for my blog post, and it's just like a 4-minute read. I was like, yeah, okay, I'll just finish it in very quickly, and then I can go to bed. But yeah, I wanted to have it like perfect, and I don't know. Yeah, I like doing it. So the time flies when you do it, and it's not really. It doesn't feel like work, kind of. In general, like working on my project does not really feel like work for me. I just do it, and it's nice. I like it so far.
Teemo, I for one love your blog post so far. Like, I think your
Thanks.
product focus comes through. I think you're doing absolutely the right thing. Like, you're a product for writers. Every single update for your product and your journey is a story, right? I mean, I said it 1,000 times before. We are selling stories every day. And I wrote you right after you published it last night. Like, I love the little bit about Bill and Bob. If you guys didn't read it, go read it. It's a nice little post. All of the 3 actually so far. It's nice. It's engaging. You are taking me through what you're building, right? The timeline, the character building, the features with a story, which that sticks with me. If you would have just written, all right, now build a timeline for managing your characters, it's like, all right, great, you did, fantastic. But like this way, I next week I'll still remember Bill and Bob, right? Like, for sure.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. At least something stuck in your head. Nice. Yeah, thanks. That's very nice to hear. But
Teemo,
now, yeah.
I just wanted to touch base and let you know that the Reddit, Twitter community, if you engage, they will respond. It's hard, though. It's definitely hard to build up that karma, and it's kind of hit or miss. And the best way to do it is answering other people's questions, right? When people ask questions that can post, you go in and you answer them, because honestly, all of the karma that I've gotten on Reddit has never been my original posts. It's always my responses to people's posts.
Okay. Yeah, that's nice feedback. I'll try that for sure. It kind of feels like Stack Overflow, because I mean, I started engaging with the Stack Overflow community a while back. I mean, I still don't have a lot of points, but yeah, it's a lot of hard work, and you really need to be quick and need to like give the good answers actually. But I like that. I'll try it out with Reddit. Feels definitely nice. So yeah, but now I would like to share a little demo. If I can share my screen 1 second. There we go. Can you see my screen? Anyone?
Yes.
Yeah, we see it.
Okay, so, and I mean, this is still a very early stage, of course, but I wanted to give the users the opportunity to like manage their timelines. And right now I've built like the opportunity to build it from a character perspective. So if I just use a character that I've predefined, I can just drag it in here, and then I know, yeah, okay, this character has to do something with my story. And these little boxes, they represent time actually as it goes like through the axis here. You cannot really see it yet, but I will make that more clear to the user. But once you put a location in, for example, I try to make it in a way that, like, let's say each of those little boxes is, let's say, one point in time, whatever that means. I mean, some stories are in the future, some are in the past, some don't have a specific date, but you still want the opportunity to see what your character's doing, and the length of these boxes here actually represent how long a character, let's say, stayed in this location. Maybe, I mean, like from a UX and UI perspective, I really have to make that a little bit more clear. I got that feedback yesterday already, but for example, I can do that for many more characters. Then I have here little Tommy, for example. Do the same for Santa. I can put a little bit more locations. So that means basically now, yeah, Santa is in the North Pole, and then afterwards, for some reason, he's in little Tommy's home. He traveled there or whatever. This can be defined, because then I have now I've dragged the locations in, and I've defined some events. For example, yeah, I don't know, Santa is wrapping presents at the North Pole together with with his little elf Happy. And yeah, after that, Happy is tired and goes to sleep, of course, and Santa is doing all the hard work delivering the presents. So he goes to little Tommy's home and then does the thing. And right now, this is, like I said, still a very basic implementation here. But what I really want the user is to have a really easy experience of defining these events and people and locations and everything that's involved, basically. And in my opinion, these events, for example, they need to be linked because they're in the same location and they happen at the same time. That means they're essentially the same event, just from the viewpoint of two different people. And it means maybe something different for little Tommy than it means for Santa in that case. But there's still a lot of things to improve. But I'm working on that, and actually I want to come up with a little bit better visual here, because what you see here is all the things I've built myself, but I think that's not really scalable for the, let's say, complex views that I have in mind. So I'm trying to use a data visualizing library for that, D3, you might know it, but that's just details. Yeah, I really want to use that, and because I think it can help me for visualizing more complex data later. And oh yeah, of course, you can also rearrange those things. But yeah, that's just a little demo. It's far from finished, but yeah, that's what I basically did last week. All right.
Yep, pretty awesome.
So much from my demo.
Nice job, Teemo. It looks really good.
Thank you.
Very cool. Any questions for Teemo?
What was the name of the platform that you discovered that is like has
I'm
goes larger
not sure if I should share that now on the live stream. We can talk about that later.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And yeah, maybe if I did a little bit more research and yeah, if they're nice, let's say, then I can share it with people next week maybe. But I can tell you later in private.
All right, chat. Do you want me to share, or do you want to share yourself?
No, why don't you do it, Sven? So I'll keep my check-in short. Oh man, it's been interesting. One of the interesting dilemmas I've had is how to approach this co-starting thing, because unlike the rest of you guys, and Teemo, nice work on bringing a friend into the mix, I have a big old team. So I've been trying to figure out how to juggle and balance and report, because my team's accomplishments are essentially my accomplishments, because what I'm doing is I'm overseeing and trying to help make sure everything's getting executed on. We had a lot of really good responses. We've gotten a lot of really amazing feedback, and we're genuinely excited to continue to implement that feedback. And I think that we're seeing a lot of great improvements. We actually just got some gear listings this morning, so that's really exciting. It's hard juggling these three major life events, you guys. I know you guys have all been busy before. You guys are all busy now, but getting married, moving, and building and launching aspects of this business have been very exciting, trying to strike that balance. So really what the team and I are planning to do next week is we're planning to really iterate on this sales push we made. We sent out a bunch of emails last week, and we're really looking forward to kind of getting that buzz driving about this, this marketing media push that we're making next Monday. We're launching next Monday as well. We're really excited about everything we got going on. However, you can kind of skip Sven. We're ready for the next one. I'm just doing a quick update because I really want to segue into a really interesting conversation about competition. So definitely got more users, gained 11 users last week. So that's awesome. Our social media went down, but you guys see it always is kind of fluctuating. I expect another kind of push coming this week. We're launching another smaller campaign with a company called Morrison Outdoors, doing a giveaway with them. We did have a big boost in our weekly sales, sold a pair of skis, which is a big ticket item. So that was really exciting. We had about 10 more items listed. Some of that was me. We're just doing some testing on our internal systems. We added a couple of customer profiles, and I'm maintaining my stress level overall. But what I really wanted to touch base with you guys on is this idea of competition. Teemo, I think that what you said was super interesting in that you saw competition and you said to yourself, oh, that means I'm in the right spot. What you'll see is in my industry, there's so many different used marketplaces for kind of different overall categories, for different niches, for different reasons. What I see that as is exactly what you did, Teemo, is I see it as a market opportunity. It means that we're in the right place at the right time. Kyle, do you need to go? Are you good this morning? Are you good?
Thank
Bye.
you. I'll
Don't
watch
be late.
the rest of your bit after it's published live later today. But it was good to see everybody.
Gotta be brothers keepers. Have fun.
I
Catch you
appreciate that.
later.
See you. Bye.
Bye.
But no, so I think that the competition angle is a really interesting conversation to have. And what I'm seeing is I get to look at all these different businesses and do test and do what you did. Sign up, use their platform, see what pain points they have, see what their customers are saying about them, see if I can listen better than they can listen. And there's a couple other small used outdoor gear online platforms, but they're all very not technologically savvy. They just did the basic bare bones to make the exchange easier. And what we're really doing, you guys, is bringing technology, really modern, contemporary, advanced tech to simplify the user experience. And that's where we distinguish ourselves. And so getting to ask those questions and look at the competition, I think is super interesting because Lou, I know there's kind of things that are similar to what you're doing with these kind of entrepreneurial communities. Kind of what do you guys think of that idea of competition actually being an advantage, a benefit, something that you can lean into and learn from versus people that get scared by it? I don't know. It's just something that I think about a lot as I see outdoor gear places or used places raise money, do all of this stuff, is I think about it and I think it's an advantage versus a disadvantage. What do you guys think?
I also think so. I mean, first when I discovered them, of course, it was a little bit, let's say, scary and intimidating, especially after I signed up and saw what they already have, and they're really not bad. And it's yeah, but it was interesting. I clicked a little bit through it and tried to test out all the features, and they're very cheap as well. To be honest, it's really cool, actually, really interesting. But yeah, I was thinking of making a premium account, like paying a little bit, so I have access to all of their features, and yeah, that's really a thing I want to do and check it out. But in general, I think it's also a benefit. I mean, I talked to Sven about that when I discovered them, and he also said, yeah, nice, but yeah, don't worry, there's usually place for 2 or more on the same page. So yeah, it's really cool because I think it makes me a little bit faster as well, because they have like 4 years of experience already. They're 4 years in the market, and they had time to build their community and evaluate the pain points of their customers. And I think when I evaluate their product a little bit, and I don't want to copy them, not at all. I have my own ideas and I have my own stuff to bring to the table, I think. But it can give me a little bit insight on what they're dealing with, maybe why they did things, how they did it, and yeah, maybe I can use it for my project. So it's really cool, I guess.
Sasha, do you have any competition?
Just real quick, guys. I just wanted to make it clear. So we keep talking because this is a good conversation, but we're already in an hour 4 in the live stream, so I'm pretty sure Chitsi is going to cut us off. So everyone out there, thanks for watching. If you guys have, or if you watch it later, not live, drop those comments and questions in the chat, and we'll get we'll get everyone here to answer them. And so we'll just keep talking until it cuts us off.
Sasha, do you have competition? Do you have other stuff in the same wheelhouse?
I've only stumbled upon one service, but it's not really configurable. I don't know. It's really simple and not configurable, and I think I can do it much better than them. But they're there for a long time. They're live from like 2007, and that web page didn't change at all. So I'm not even sure if it's working as expected. But yeah, there is that one website. There were others, but they were abandoned, I think, because I signed up and some things didn't work, and so
I think that's important is also to look at direct and indirect competition, right? Where I think Sasha's project is a great example for that, where even if there is no direct competition, where someone is trying to do something like this algorithmically, your competition are the traditional wills, right? And like just the services we use in the real world for 100 years now or longer. So I think that it's interesting because your approach to compete with them is completely different, but also very interesting because it's more of a disruptive invention, right? So as you kind of approach those guys, you will become the leader with a new approach to an old problem.
But I guess the biggest difference compared to them is that the ordinary will is like a legal document, I guess. So there is that part, and my service is not. It's like something somebody uses on a voluntary basis without any legal repercussion behind that. So there's that difference. But yeah, the use case is kind of similar, but
yeah, I think look at that from, sorry to go too deep into this one now, but why is it a legal document? Because somehow you needed to ensure that what you write down actually happened, right? You are doing that in a different way. For you, there is no reason to make this a legal binding agreement because the outcome is the same, right? The solving of the problem is the same. Like that, like they just had a different approach to it, and there was maybe nothing better until now. But from a customer's perspective, at least if I ask myself, do I care if it's a legally binding document, or do I just care that my niece or my nephew or whoever gets what I want them to get, right? However that happens, I don't care because like I said earlier, I'm already dead.
No, I think the reason why it's legal is because like, okay, now someone has to kind of execute your wishes, and your approach to it is really novel because now you don't need that lawyer to go in there and execute your wishes. It's being done automatically. I mean, kind of like what Sven mentioned earlier, building on the blockchain. This is like a really, really good use case for building this, to use blockchain as a tech for this. Because as we've seen in the past, there has been a lot of problems that people have a tech they're trying to find a problem for. I think this one's a good fit for it.
I'll think about it, but I think I stick with normal web server for now. But yeah, I'll think about it. And I agree that in previous years, people were like sticking everything in blockchain and like this for blockchain, that for blockchain, and most of those uses were not for blockchain. So yeah, maybe this one is.
I agree. You should stick with the plan for now, but maybe join another cohort or, like version 2 or 3, whatever it is, right? But I totally agree. Like, just since it popped in my head the first time, now I'm already like, I'm seeing it. I see the pricing model automatic. Like, it's all baked in the platform already, right? With the blockchain, because you don't there's no pricing there. It's the tokens themselves. It's beautiful. We should talk. Cool. All right. Anything else you guys want to discuss? I know we are already taking more of your time this morning than usual, but it's great to see that the conversations are engaging. We good? All right. You guys want to go back to work? I see. Excellent. So have a good week, everyone. Keep us posted, right? All of these questions you guys had, throw them in Slack, right? Like help each other during the week. If no matter how small, right? Like I think that feeling of just mulling something over, I think goes a long way sometimes.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Thanks,
Awesome.
guys.
All
Take
right,
it
guys.
easy.
Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
Thank you very much.